Back, Pompeani, I guess you can call us right here on the Sports Call. Call us 412-575-2600. I also have some tweets I want to read. Derek Akers says, do the Penguins need a new coach?
Not yet.
Tune in to the Sports Call, to the Showdown tonight at 11:35 because Andrew, Josh Yohe, Jason Mag, we have a good Penguins conversation coming up, and we address that. Also, Josh Berkovich says that Archer trade looks bad right now. Glasnow and Meadows tearing it up, but I wouldn't blame him for making that trade. I don't, because I wanted it at the time. Glasnow had a lot of opportunities, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
And he just never did it. Good for him. He's a talented kid. And then one more. Cal Hammer says Steelers took 4 players to dinner on Pro Day last year. They drafted all 4. This year they took only 1. It was Chase Winovich, who's a local guy playing linebacker. What do you think about him?
Wild man. I mean, he looks like he's got an unbelievable passion.
Good player
for the game. I don't think he's worthy of the 20th pick in the draft. If they took him with the 2nd-round pick, I could better understand that. But you know, they showed with some of these guys they've taken the last 2 years, they want players that are committed to football. I think having Jason Worlds quit on them and some of these guys who kind of had a lukewarm interest in football scared them off. And I think Winovich is someone who you're not going to question his work ethic and commitment to the game.
Let's go to Henry in Lawrenceville. Hey, Henry, how are you?
Hey, both of you guys. How's it going?
Hey,
what's up?
So what I wanted to talk about was, you know, the Bucks are doing pretty good. The Penguins sort of puttered out, and we're pretty far away from the Steeler game. So what I want to talk about is who do you guys think is going to end up on the Iron Throne in Game of Thrones?
I have theories, Bob. I skipped Game of Thrones to do the show tonight.
My wife and I are going to binge watch it. I haven't watched it.
You haven't started at all?
No, so I have to do a lot of binge watch. So you can do whatever you spoil it for me. Go ahead.
I like Bran Stark. Is my pick right now.
Okay, it means nothing to me, but hopefully I'll learn about Bran Stark. Let's go to Tim in Imperial. Hey, Tim, how are you?
Hey, pretty good, Bob. How you doing, Andrew?
Hey, what's up?
I wanted to ask a question. I saw the game before the pregame show, and Bob Walk came out and actually said that Archer was going to be a little bit with the 5 days off, a little bit off the corners and stuff like that, because he hasn't been able to practice. Now, he got a 5-day suspension.
He didn't miss one start, though. But I understand, that to me is an excuse.
Plus, well, he said it was because of the weather and being off. Anyhow, the guy in Chicago that hit the guy that started the both benches, what did he get? I haven't heard anything about what he got. The Chicago pitcher, the White Sox pitcher had hit the guy after.
Oh, it was the other way around.
Yeah,
it was the Royals pitcher. The Royals pitcher did not get suspended.
I thought when you said Chicago, I mean you meant Cubs. No, he didn't.
Keller did not get suspended.
No, first of all, in that situation, where we've gone over this, but Andrew, Archer is a man who shows his emotions.
Yep.
He has no business wondering why some guy's showing emotions or whatever he does. Right. And for him to throw at him, whatever the message was, I just didn't think it was necessary.
No, either did I. I think it's an important year for Archer. He's 30 years old. I think his first impression here in Pittsburgh was not the best one. The team really tapered off right after that trade. And now he's going to fight the public perception on what Glasnow is doing in Tampa Bay and what Austin Meadows was doing there before he had that thumb sprain that just put him on the DL. He's hit a lot of home runs, so there's a lot of pressure on Archer. But I guess fortunately for the Pirates, Bob, they've got a deep rotation, and it's not all on him.
And Jordan Lyles has been spectacular. So, Mark in Penn Run, you're on right now. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good. I have a question for the both of you.
Go ahead.
Several weeks ago, you both were on at the same time, and you were talking about John Gruden coaching in Oakland. And you said about, well, he did win a Super Bowl. And the other gentleman, John Fillipponi, said, well, but he won it with Tony Dungy's draft picks. However, whenever someone brings up about Tomlin winning with Cowher's draft picks,
that narrative gets old with me, though. I'm
just asking you, what is the difference? Where is there a difference between Gruden winning with...
All right, we got 30 seconds.
I'll say this. Go look at what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did the year before Gruden won a Super Bowl there, and look at what the Steelers did in 2007. They missed the playoffs.
All right.
2006.
We're due for a break. We'll be right back.